All right. All right. Okay. All right. So welcome, gentlemen. Let me see if this. Okay. So let me see as far as announcements go. So we're at the end of week 7, right? So which means that next week is week 8. We have exam 2 next week. So I did decide earlier today at the end of my 9 a.m. class, I made an executive decision. I made a change. Hang on. Oh, that's the chat. I made a change to exam 2. Instead of starting exam 2 next Wednesday, it's going to be available starting from next Monday, right? And so I'm doing that because I still need to sit down and figure it out, but I'll send some instructions on this. But so for the oral component, for the scheduling, I think I'm going to use like Starfish office hour scheduling, but I got to go and set that up, and I'll send some instructions on how to schedule for the oral component. Whenever you do your oral component, the main thing that I need from you is to be able to see your face. I just need to be able to see your face, and then I'll show my iPad screen like I'm doing now. You can tell me what to write, and just kind of get me through like 3 questions. All right. I'm not trying to do anything difficult or anything hard. I'm just trying to get a sense or a gauge for like where you are. Right. Let me see if there are any other announcements. So yeah, that'll. So I'll probably take all of next week to do scheduling, to do the oral component. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I probably won't break the rhythm that we've been doing for attendance. I probably still do attendance the way I've been doing it, but I'm going to use class time for the oral component. Let me get the student right, but we're probably going to start that on Monday. I went on and made exam 2 earlier today. It's posted, but you can't see it or access it until this upcoming Monday. And again, instead of having 5 days of access to it, you'll have 7 days of access to it. Right? So you get a little bit more time to get full credit. Keep in mind with any assignment that we post, we get unlimited attempts, and you can actually work on all these assignments past the deadline, right? So like even though that's due the following Monday, you can work on it past that time, but there's a 10% late penalty at that point. So the highest you can make is a 90, which is still an A minus. So you can get an A minus on any assignment all the way up until the end of the semester, all the way up until the first till we start that week of final exams. That's like that first week of December. Um, yeah, I'll update your grades after exam 2. All right. Let me get the student, and let me check the chat. Let's go like this. No, man, you be lagging. Cool. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Okay, so what we've been doing, um, like this past like week or so, so I went on and made this assignment that only I can access. But basically, what it does is list out all the possible questions that I would ask on exam 2. And so what we've been doing together is saying, okay, can we go through this document? You don't have access to it. I'm not trying to give you more work, but see, can we go through this and find some of the questions that potentially may not have been assigned in the homework, but could pop up on the exam? And we can do that because a lot of all the questions are like similar, like they're the same content. They just might be phrased or worded differently, right? So I don't want to give you too much homework. Let me get the student. I don't want to give you too much homework, but I want to give you enough for you to catch the rhythm. And that's the long and short of all of that. Let me check the chat one more time. Let me see. We don't have school until Wednesday next week. What's the occasion? Is it like fall break or something? That could be the case. Yeah, fall break. Okay. Well, Wednesday. Okay, so all that does is cut into the oral exam time. I can still leave the exam available. I was trying to take advantage of that Monday, but thanks for notifying me of that because I think you're right. There usually is a fall break. Uh, do, 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 do. I'll just confirm it, and I mean, so what best we can do is just meet on Wednesday and just kind of start from there. Let me think about it because we're basically going to need more time for the oral exams because they just take a while. But we'll do the best that we can. I mean, we get a little bit of extra time, so we'll take advantage of it. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'll send updates about the scheduling and all that stuff. So I think you just got a bonus, a free 2 extra days to work on the exam. You don't have to start on that Monday. It's just available on that Monday and it's due the following Monday. This is good stuff. Okay. I can't think of anything else other than exam two. And again, we get unlimited attempts. Let me suppress my audio so I can focus. We get unlimited attempts at all assignments. You can work on any assignment past the deadline, and honestly, we can work on any question during class time. Like it doesn't have to be any. It doesn't have to be the questions that I'm working on. I just work on those questions to fill dead air. But if you request anything else, we can talk about it and work our way through it. Okay, with that, I'm going to hop over to where I left off with my previous class. So with my previous class, we were working on section. We kind of ended up back on section 1.6. And we were just kind of making our way through those questions to see can we find some that, the whole spiel. So let's hop back over to Pearson. Okay, and let's see what can we do. Let me see. Okay, so this comes out of section 1.6. This comes on combining functions. All right, so we can add, subtract, multiply, and divide functions, and we can also do combination of functions. So one function inside another. Hopefully you all are able to connect with the tutors. You're able to connect with and follow the instructions for Dr. Lamar for the lab. Um, you know, yeah, I just want to remind you all of that. At least the tutoring part, because that's an invaluable resource for college algebra students. College algebra, I feel like in and of itself, the concepts are not difficult. The biggest challenge with college algebra is basically organization and organizing information overload. It's a lot of information, and if you're not organized and diligent and persistent about it, it can be very overwhelming. But the concepts in and of themselves are not difficult, but you have to be organized and you have to be able to, and the best way I know how to manage information overload, at least with something like this, is to start early. I don't know if you've noticed, I haven't added any additional homework assignments. All the homework for the semester is up and all the quizzes for the semester are up. The only thing I'll add are the few exams that we take. um, Let me check the chat. Yeah. So once you get into my Zoom, you've gotten your attendance credit for the day, right? So if you get into my Zoom and I don't say anything, that means you've gotten your attendance credit. Let me see. So we've kind of done this before, so let's just kind of walk through it. We're actually find each of the following values given that f of x is this and g of x is this. So let me take some notes and then we'll hop over to the tablet. So on this assignment, this is question. Let me reload you. So I don't know that it's lagging until I go to write, and then when I go to write, it's like so I have to restart this program. Okay, but it's a great program. I've been using it since I was in grad school, and I mean I still have all the documents and everything. It's great. I'm using this app called Notability on my iPad. It's really nice. I enjoy it. It's really really good. Okay, just some shameless marketing for somebody else, till I start making my own stuff. So this comes from section 1.6, question 3. Let me see. We're given that f of x is 1 over x plus 5, the square root, under 1, and then g of x, 2x plus 3. That's fine. Okay, so for part A, we're given what? We're asked to find f plus g of negative 4. For part B, we're asked to find f minus g of 0. For part C, we're asked to find f times g of -1. And for part D, we're asked to find f divided by g of 1. Okay, let me give me a moment. I want to rearrange the stuff that I just wrote. Like I want this over here. You, my friend, can go here. And you go here. Okay, that's better. Okay, let's hop over to the tablet. Yeah, I don't know if you heard it. My voice almost cracked like when I was going through puberty just now. It was like, let's hop over to the Okay, just being a little bit silly. Let's see. That looks good. Chat looks good. Okay, I'm gonna let it be. You, come on. There you go. Okay, so these are the notes that I just took on that question. So let's start with part A, right? So part A asks us to find f plus g of -4. Again, now, a common mistake or a common error that students make with a question like this, they think that that's multiplication. This is not multiplication. All right. This does not mean multiplication. Again, this means the following. This means f of -4 plus g of -4. All right. So let's evaluate those off to the side. So we're going to replace x with the -4, but the first thing we're going to do is replace each x with a blank set of parentheses. So we have this f of x, we got this x plus 5 under the radical, inside the radical and under 1, right? And then below it, I'm going to go ahead and write g. G was what? 2x plus 3, so 2x plus 3. So all I did was replace each x with a blank set of parentheses. I'm going to copy this so I can use it later. Okay. So now for part A, we're replacing each x with -4. So I plug in -4 into all my blank parentheses. Now we're ready to simplify. Okay, so then -4 plus 5 is 1. You should be able to arrive to that conclusion of that boils down to 1. -4 plus 5 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Right? And then for this other part, 2 times -4 is what? -8 plus 3 is -5. So then if we take these results and plug them back into the original part, f of -4 is 1 plus g of -4 was -5. 1 plus -5 is -4. Right? So that's the result that we got there. We're going to go ahead and do the remaining parts, and then we'll submit it in Pearson at the end. This is just a tangent. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about the changing of the seasons. I don't know. It's just a change and it's different. I generally don't like the cold, but at this stage in my life, I've found a way to like find something in each season to enjoy. Right? I have an affinity for like spring and summer, so I love the springtime and the summertime because it's the warm weather. It encourages being outside. I love being outside. I don't like the bugs, but I find a way around them. Right? So I try to soak up as much sunlight as I can. The sunlight just totally makes me feel better. Like when there's no sun, man, I be feeling depressed, like emotional. But when there's sun, I be like, hey, man, it's a beautiful day. I don't even care. I swear that's what got me through school, right? Getting sun. But with the colder months, like with the fall, it's still tempered enough to where you can still be pleasant and comfortable outside, even though it's cool, but you can still be comfortable. And the winter is cold. I've learned that, okay, dress appropriately. But the thing I like about the wintertime is that it encourages togetherness. It just brings people together. And then the holiday season, if you work it right, I know that the holiday season can be a challenge, but it's I don't want to be so blunt to be like it's a choice, but we respond to these life events. We really do choose. That's about the only thing we do have control over, is how we respond to these life events. You might have like, Lord knows I have my fair share of like disappointments during the holidays, but I have a lot of fond memories too. So I go out of my way to like just invoke those energies, because I choose peace over like anger. So anyway, I'm looking at B. We have f minus g of 0. F minus g of 0, right? Just trying to offer some encouragement for people. Okay, so again, let me kind of make some space. So we're going to go equals. And again, this means, all right, what does this mean? This means, again, this is not multiplication. And we're not distributing. What this means basically, this means f of 0 minus g of 0, all right? So don't try to distribute, because if you distribute a 0, then you're gonna be led astray, right? So we're not distributing. This just means f of 0 minus g of 0. So off to the side, my voice just cracked a little bit there too. So again, first thing we're going to do, we're going to replace each x with a blank set of parentheses, and then into the blank parentheses, in this case, we're plugging in 0. So I just use my copy and paste feature to paste those pieces, and then we're going to simplify these. 0 plus 5 is 5, so this one ends up being 1 over the square root of 5. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for now. And then the second one ends up becoming 3. So if we do f of 0, which is 1 over the square root of 5, minus g of 0, which is 3, we get this. I'm going to see if they'll take this. If they don't, then we'll get a common denominator, and we'll probably rationalize as well. All right. I'm just going to submit this for right now and see if it allows me to submit it like this. And if not, then actually we can't do it. Okay, but what I can do, let me hop back over to Pearson really quickly, and I want to take advantage of this viewing example. It'll give me a similar question, and you can do the same thing when you're working through your homework. It's a similar question with different numbers, and honestly, your exam is going to be a similar experience where it's the same question with different numbers, right? And I want to just see part B, and I just want to see how they submit their answer for part B. All right, we kind of worked through part A already, so I feel confident there. Part B, right? I just want to see how they submit their answer. Yeah, did they leave it like that? 1 over. Okay, it seems like we can submit either one, right? Because right now we have ours in this form. They have 1 over root 5 minus 4. We have something similar. Or you can get a common denominator, rationalize, and you can transform into that. I'm going to submit what we got. All right, that's all I wanted to see. So for right now, before I submit, I'm going to go ahead and finish out the remaining components. Boom, like that. Okay. So I'm going to go with this answer. I'm going to go with this. And I just use the view an example feature in Pearson. You have the same ability. Because of that feature is why I vouch for Pearson. It's just a powerful tool. They give an explanation or backstory on the reasoning or logic behind these concepts, right? So you're not just given a question and an answer. You're still given a question and an answer, but now you're given an explanation as to how do you arrive to that answer. In math, it's not really about the destination. It's about how did you get there. Did you lie, cheat, steal, and kill to get there, or did you have integrity and do you actually have the skill set? Do you know what you're talking about, or did you just sure finesse it, right? Yeah, so that's just in math. It's not about the answer. It's not about the answer being right. It's about how do we get to these conclusions? Why is that the case, right? One thing I struggled with, though, that I had a group, they had to bring it to my attention, in human interactions, the why doesn't really seem to, the why is important, but that's not everything, right? I used to live my life by, well, why are you doing this? This doesn't make any sense, right? Sometimes people just do stuff just for the sake of doing it. You know what I mean? And I had to acknowledge that and accept that. And that's people's divine right and prerogative. I was being too robotic with certain things, and if it didn't make sense, then I didn't even give it value. But no, that's a person's choice. That's their choice. They don't have to explain. They don't have to have a reason for something. That's just what they choose. That's their divinity. So where I am now in my life, I can acknowledge that that's their divine right, as I have a divine right like everyone else, and I refuse to try to infringe on somebody else's divine right to choose. Right? But that's just me. Now, others, when they, I can't say for others, but when I feel like they're over stepping their bounds and infringing on somebody's divinity, That's when I'm like, okay, look, you're going too far now. That's enough, right? I'll start to put my foot off somewhere. Like I don't feel like you don't have the right to infringe on somebody else's divinity. But that's just concepts and things. Um, but yeah, that was anyway. That was just again studying so much mathematics. I used to pride myself on, oh well, why is this the case? Why is it the answer? How did you get that answer? And I used to do that with people too, and I had to realize that people don't always have a reason why they're just doing something. Just sometimes they do it just for the sake of doing it because that's what they choose. Kind of like Neo. It was like that classic battle between Neo and Agent Smith. Oh, and I can't wait for December 22nd. I just told myself don't bring it up because I don't want no spoilers for Matrix 4. But that scene, at the end of the third one, he was like, "Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?" And then Mr. Anderson was like, "Because I choose to." It was just his choice. That was his divine right. He just chose. That whole thing was all about choice. I thought it was fantastic. The philosophy. I'm curious to see what they do with part 4. Okay, let's get back on track. So we have f times g of -1. F times g of -1. Not to rant. F times g of -1, right? Okay, so again, this means, all right? This means what? F of -1 times g of -1, right? Oops. Let's paste. So first thing we do is we take those functions and we replace each x with a blank set of parentheses. And then in this case, into the blank parentheses, we're going to plug in -1. Okay. All right. So then -1 plus 5 is 4. So at this stage, we have 1 over the square root of 4. So then that's 1 over 2. Okay. 2 times -1 is what? -2 plus 3 is 1, right? So then let me give myself a little bit of space. And so like what I do now, I mean I still see the value. Like I came across a new concept called like emotional sense. Like there's this thing where for me personally, things have to make sense emotionally. And if they don't make emotional sense, like why are you upset? Why are you feeling this way? Then I struggle with it, right? But I couple that with this thing of, well, that's just how they choose to feel. I acknowledge the other person's divinity and I do the best I can to allow them the space to just be, you know, as long as they're not hurting themselves or anyone else, then I try to give them the space, and I'll intervene when I feel like I need to, because you still gotta. People did that for me, and it helped me, and so I just do the best I can for others whenever I can. So if we plug in these results, f of -1 is a half, g of -1 is 1. So then the final result we get there is a half because we're multiplying those results. Hopefully I'm not just like talking out the side of my neck. Hopefully the stuff I'm saying actually, again, this is that thing I was talking about. It makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense for you or is reasonable. Anyway, let's do part D. Part D asks us to do f divided by g of 1. Part D asks us to do f divided by g of 1. Okay? Again, this means, and I feel like, I guess I go on those rants because I feel like, okay, well, in case you can't like get the math for me, at least I can try to help in some other way. And I try to be politically correct because I can't just say anything. I can't say everything, but I try to say things that I feel like I can say and get away with. Let me move. I just want to move some stuff around. Like I want this to be about there, and I want this to be about there. Okay. Right? So if we say f divided by g of 1, this means f of 1 divided by g of 1. So then we're going to take those functions like we did before, and now we're plugging in 1. All right, so x equals 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1, right? Okay. So then if we simplify, the first one, we get 1 over the square root of 6. Okay. Oh, let me see. I think So I think I may have mentioned this before. I'm not sure. I know because I have a lot of students. I have a lot of different classes. So not this Sunday, but a week from this Sunday is going to be the second Sunday of the month. The second Sunday of every month is free admission at the high. You might have to like go online and like get a ticket in advance, but it's free, right? And so if you want to just something free to do, it's just a fun thing to do. It's free. The second Sunday of every month is free admission at the High Museum. It's off of it's one block south of 17th Street, so it's on 16th Street and it's at the intersection of 16th and Peachtree. There's that, and then also just in the spirit of the holiday season. So we're approaching like October. I think at Stone Mountain